Let's move on to some of the news today. For the fourth straight night, the streets of that St. Louis suburb looked more like a battlefield. Police in full riot gear using tear gas last night to control crowds still simmering over the shooting death of 18-year-old Michael Brown by a police officer there in Ferguson, Missouri. Last night, 2 reporters in town to cover the story were detained after police ordered them to leave a local McDonald's. Both Wesley Lowery of the Washington Post and Reilly of the Huffington Post claim they were handcuffed after police told them they were not packing up their things to leave quickly enough. Lowery captured part of his run-in with the cops on his cell phone.
Grab your stuff. Let's go.
I'm working on it.
Stop videotaping. Let's grab our stuff and go.
Someone right to videotape you, sir?
Hurry up. Let's go.
Please don't leave her good on me.
Let's go.
You see me working on it. Please do not tell me not to use my personal
Time to go. Let's go.
Please not wave a gun at me.
We're down about 45 seconds. Let's go.
Now, is the street... Can I ask
Let's go. Let's go. We don't have time to ask questions. Let's go.
Closed. Can I move my car?
You can move your car if your car's out here. Let's go.
It is. That's what I was asking. You didn't have time to answer?
Let's go.
Just being mean.
Let's go.
I'm working on it, sir.
Let's go. There's the door over here. Let's go.
I'm going to watch this.
Let's go. You can move. Let's go. Move.
Sir, please.
Let's move. Let's move.
Sir.
Last night, Lowery, who shot that video, spoke about what allegedly happened when the camera stopped rolling.
He then tried to direct me towards another door. I said, "Officers, where would you like me to go?" As I turned to follow their instruction, my bag slipped off of my shoulder. I said, "Officers, I'm going to need to stop to adjust my bag. Give me 1 second." At which point they said, "Let's take him." Slammed me into the soda machine, grabbed my bag, grabbed my phone, and then put me in temporary restraints.
And the Huffington Post's Reilly tweeted this picture just before he was detained, saying in part that a SWAT team just invaded McDonald's.
I was given a countdown. I was told I had, 45 seconds, 30 seconds to pack up all of my stuff and leave, at which point the officer in question, who I repeatedly later would ask for his name and was never, or his badge number was never given it, decided that he was going to help me pack, and he grabbed my things and shoved them into my bag. And I was then basically he then arrested me. And as he handcuffed me, he put on both very tight. He used his finger to put a pressure point on my neck, and it was just a very, very difficult experience.
Willie, I don't know. What do you think? Well, okay, let me help you out here, because I'm the one that always gets in trouble. I'll get in trouble here. I will just say, if I saw that video and my son was the one that the police arrested after that episode, I'd say, Joey, here's a clue. When the cops tell you, for like the 30th time, let's go, you know what that means, son? It means let's go. I'm sorry. You know what? We've got a lot of questions out there. We've got people angry in the streets because they won't release this cop's name. We don't even know what happened. We've got 2 sides telling something completely conflicting. So there's a lot of unanswered questions here, but I do know this. When a police officer asks you to pick up, I've been in places where police officers said, all right, you know what, this is cordoned off, you guys need to move along. And you know what I do? I go, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. I don't sit there and have a debate and film the police officer, unless I want to get on TV and have people talk about me the next day. I am sure that I'm just the worst person in the world for saying this. I can only judge how I would treat my son, who is a reporter, who if he were in this position, I'd go, you're in jail. Okay. Well, you know what? Next time a police officer tells you that you've got to move along because you've got riots outside, well, you probably should move along. But maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know.
I haven't seen any evidence, Joe, that there were riots outside that McDonald's.
Okay. Well, I wasn't at that McDonald's.
I wasn't there.
I don't know why the police officers were there. I know it's bad. I know it's bad out there.
If you're a reporter setting up shop in a fast food restaurant, right, you're going to have a laptop, a Wi-Fi card, your phone, your charger. It's going to take you more than 45 seconds to get it together. He was trying to comply, and the question is, what was the rush to push them out of there? And then when he slips, basically, and drops his briefcase, he gets arrested and pinned.
Well,
it just doesn't make any sense.
We don't know how long that is, and I don't know why the police were moving them along.
Listen, I'm just concerned by what seems to be this common misperception that it's illegal to video a law enforcement officer or take pictures of them. It's not.
Well, I don't think it is, but if they're coming in and saying that we're cordoning off this area, and they say you have a certain amount of time to do it, and instead you're putting up a video phone and you're asking some kid with a gun who's what, 25, 26, 27, he didn't make the orders.
Mm-hmm. The only, I mean, I'm reluctant usually to have journalists becoming the centre of the story, and they seem to have become in this case, and clearly something much more serious is happening in Ferguson than what happened to these two reporters.
Right.
But I do think it doesn't, if we're a police force that is trying to show the country that it is capable of exercising restraint, this was not a particularly smart public relations.
By the way,
I'm
not standing up like, for everything that's going on out there. First of all, Caddy, I think it's probably a bad idea to look like Ukrainian, like Ukrainian guards.
Paramilitary.
Right.
I'm sitting there going,
in
boy.
A McDonald's that's pretty
and by the way,
peaceful.
I'm just talking about this one episode.
Right.
And I find it really hard to believe that they couldn't have shown a little more subtlety through this entire process.
But did they need to be arrested? That's the question. And when they got there, they were quickly released, no charges. The chief got wind of this and said, let these guys go. They were sitting in the cell, and one of the cops came in and said, who are the two journalists?
And the reaction of the chief when he was called by the LA Times was, oh, God.
Right. Well, let me ask
you
guys something. Am I a sucker for when a police officer comes in and says, hey, we need you to move along? Am I a sucker for actually listening and moving along, or should I just sit there and question him?
No.
And by the way, what was he packing up? You know what? If he was packing up our entire control room, that's fine. He had a freaking laptop. Come on. Oh, wait, I'm packing up, officer. Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry.
I think isn't there a broader question? If it happened to these two reporters, it is some indication of what is happening to other people in Ferguson who are not able to put... There is accusations of heavy-handedness by police in Ferguson,
right, and
amongst the local population, and they're not able to put their videos
there are accusations, but aren't there accusations on both sides of this? Because we hear one side of the story. Cops bad. Like, nobody's, you know, we had the police officer come out yesterday. They're calling, basically, signs holding, people calling for, like, murder charges. And I understand. By the way, for everybody out there going, hey, Joe just blindly, you know, is on one side or the other. You know what? I caught hell because what I said about Trayvon for months. In this situation, we don't know what happened. We just have absolutely no idea. And you've got people, you know, the cops are trying to protect the identity of this cop and his family until they know exactly what happened. We have really two completely conflicting stories here. Mm-hmm. One, that the officer was assaulted, they went for the gun, they shoved him back into the car, and the other, that this poor young man was just walking down the street and he was gunned down execution style.
Yeah, you have a couple.
What do you do with that?
You have a couple of witnesses, including his friend, who gave the latter version of the story.
Right.
He was executed. The police say something else, and that's at the core of this. What happened? We don't know exactly what happened. He was unarmed. We do know that, but until that, it's not worth us sitting in New York or Washington debating. We don't know what happened, but what we can talk about is what we're seeing in the streets of Ferguson and what's happening. What looks to a lot of people, and again, I haven't been on the ground there, as a very heavy-handed approach from the police there. When you have a guy sitting on top of an armored personnel carrier with a sniper's rifle looking down and scanning the crowd, that seems a little over the top for what have been, for the most part,
seems a lot peaceful protests. That actually seems a lot over the top.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that side of the story. I'm coming on one side of the story, so everybody can take deep breaths at home if you're ready to go down and start eating Cheetos and getting on your mother's old typewriter. Because, by the way, I don't read that stuff anyway. I'm going to eat my oatmeal while you're typing that. You know what? When we talked to Bill Bratton the other day, you know what would fix all of this? Have police officers wear cameras.
Absolutely.
So we know what's going on. That would do two things. That would stop this from going on. That would stop people from falsely accusing cops. And it would put a chilling effects on cops that use their power to push people around. And I'm not talking about what goes on in this case. I'm talking about what we've all seen with cops across America. At times, they get a little too much power and they get a little too cocky. It would have a chilling effect on that type of behavior. I guarantee you, if cops on Staten Island were wearing cameras, every one of them, they wouldn't have put that man in a chokehold and killed him for peddling cigarettes.
I agree. I can't think of a single argument left anymore to not do this. It seems like eminently good policy. It's good for the officers, and it's good for the people they serve.
You know what? You know who it's bad for? Bad cops. That's what it's bad for. If I'm a good cop, I want that. Because I want everybody to know what happens. I want to protect myself. I want to protect, in this case, if, and we don't know, if this cop is innocent.
Yeah.
Then if he had a camera on,
he
would be safe. He wouldn't be worried about his family. He wouldn't, if he has children, he wouldn't be worried about his children.
And if you're in a tough call, do you want the only camera on the scene to be a bystander?
Right. Exactly. With a cell phone.
Who could be coming in a minute after whatever prompted the altercation.
Right. And what you always hear from police unions and police chiefs and police officers, oh, you know what? That just shows a little part of it. Okay, well, fine. Well, give us the whole thing. Put it on squad cars, which we have on a lot of squad cars, and put these cameras on cops. It doesn't cost that much. And the only group of people that it hurts are bad cops that abuse their power. There
is another issue, though, isn't there, with the Ferguson police force, and I don't know how much this is replicated around the country, the fact that it is grossly unrepresentative of the population that it is serving. What is it? Only 3 of Ferguson's 53 police officers are black in a population that is 70% black in that neighborhood. And I think, that's got to be addressed too. How much effort are they making to diversify their police force? Why are they not hiring a more diverse police force?
You're just asking for trouble. You really are. It's insanity. It's unrepresentative.
Absurd.
And you have to police
look at all
the streets.
The pictures of the people in SWAT uniforms. It's white guys in SWAT uniforms.
And if you're going to police any streets in any neighborhood, you need the community to be a willing partner. That's what Bill Bratton talked about in L.A. It's what he's talking about here. And you can't do that if the police force is that grossly unrepresentative. Willie Guy.
All right.